In the last video, we saw how comparable works. So in Java, whenever we don't provide anything, by default, the criteria is considered to be the natural order. And we define the natural order using comparable interface. So whatever criteria has been implemented in the compare to method of the comparable or of the class that is implementing comparable, that class will be sorted based on that. So that is all about the natural ordering. But as you can see, there is a limitation. So if we consider the student class, we implemented the comparable interface, and in the compare to method, we are saying that this is the natural order, which means to sort students based on their roll number. But what if we want to sort them based on their name too, in the alphabetical order of their name, or maybe date of birth? So you see the limitation, because in this case, we cannot sort the student based on multiple attributes. That is the limitation of natural sorting. Now this problem is solved by another interface, which is called comparator. While comparable is all about the natural sorting, comparator interface is all about the custom sorting. Alright, so if we open the documentation of comparator interface, we see this is a functional interface, and it has, although it has many methods, but there is only a single method that does not have any body, which is why it is a functional interface. Now, the method definition is similar but different. In case of comparable, the method is compared to, and it accepts a single argument, the target object, because this is all about natural ordering. So it compares this object with another object, or the object that we pass. Now comparator has the compare method. It also returns the integer, which means a negative integer if the object is less than another object. If 0, then it means equal. If greater than 0, then it means this object is greater than the second object. Alright, and then we accept two objects, O1 and O2. Apart from this compare method, there are a bunch of other methods. For example, reversed, to reverse the ordering, we can do that. Then comparing, if we want to compare on multiple attributes, then we can compose, or then we can combine the functions using the then comparing. And then there are various flavors of then comparing methods. Okay, so let's see how do we use comparator along with comparable. Comparable we have already covered, so we implemented the comparable interface. Then we simply sorted the student list. Now we can do the same thing with comparator. What we can do, we can say comparator dot natural order. It means we want to sort the list by its natural order, and that means by the comparable. So if we change null to natural order and run the code, then we should see the same output. So we see roll number 1 first, followed by roll number 2 and roll number 3. What if we want to sort in the reverse order? That is simple with comparator. So we can simply use collect comparator dot reverse order method, and it will basically reverse the ordering. This time if we run the same program, then it will use the natural sorting but in reverse order. So we see roll number 3 first, followed by 2 and 1 in the last. Okay, what else can we do that? Okay, what else can we do with comparator? So if we see, there are methods like comparing int. If we want to sort two objects based on an integer value, so we can use comparing int to avoid the boxing and unboxing. Alright, similarly we have methods like comparing double, comparing long. Now consider we have a collection, in this case a list, and it has null values as well. Then it depends where we want to put them. If we want to put them in the beginning, then all the elements in their sorted order, then we can use nulls first. If we want to put the elements first in their sorted order, then nulls in the last, then we can use nulls last. Alright, now important methods in this comparator interface is comparing. So let's see that. Now comparing method accepts a function, and in that function we provide the logic of custom ordering. So by default, because we implemented comparable interface, so the natural ordering is based on the roll number. But additionally, we want to sort the students based on their name. How do we do that? So we can use comparing method. All we need to do is we need to somehow provide the logic to sort on their name. Okay, so before we use comparing method, let me first generate getters and setters because we are going to use method references. If you don't understand how method references work, then I would recommend to go through another playlist which is on lambdas and streams. There you can find some references and examples on method references. So let me generate getters and setters for all the properties, roll number, name, and DOB. Now that we have getters and setters, to sort on the name, I can simply pass the method reference student : get name. That means I'm saying that sort this list, and I'm passing this comparator that compare the list or compare the students based on their name. And if we run the program now, instead of roll number, we should see students sorted by their name. So we see student 1 followed by student 2 and followed by student 3. Okay. And because this is the same order of roll number, so to verify, I can change that. For student 1, I can say that ID is 4. And if we run this code again, we see that student 1 is still at the first location, followed by 2 and 3. And you see roll number is basically out of order. So it is verified that this comparison is happening based on the name attribute, which is by using the comparator. All right. So that's how we use comparators. Now, how do we combine multiple attributes? So let's say I want to say that first compare the students by their names. And if the name is same, then use another criteria, and let's say date of birth. So how do we do that? In that case, we use then comparing method. So I say first compare the student by their name, and if the name is same, then use date of birth. All right. So if we run this code, we see no change in the output because student 1, basically there are no students which have the same name. So there is no tie. To do this, let me change the name of one of the students, and this time if we run this code, we see that first we see student 2, and because there are 2 students with the same name, so what it did, it basically sorted them by their date of birth. So we see this one first, 1990, then student 2, 1991, and at last student 3 with 1987. All right. So that's how we use comparator. Comparator is all about custom sorting, and that's how we can combine multiple attributes for the sorting. All right.